Okay, so we start by opening the sketch, and then we're going to outline the entire scroll and the hands using the pen tool. I've chosen to use a different color here because later on, when we want to start converting it to entirely black and white, having all of the different elements separated into different colors means that we can select by that color and select only the elements we want to. Here we're going to outline the inside shapes of the outside stroke, and then the back shape will form the inside lines. It'll fill those color areas where there isn't any white. Now I'm using blue here so that later on I can select using just the blue areas. You can see there a preview. I'm just going to continue to outline all of the interior shapes, ignoring the detail inside those shapes. For now, those detail lines we're going to make with the pen tool and use a stroke profile to give it a slightly more hand-drawn appearance. Now I'm saving this. I'm going to change colors to blue here so that later on I can use that trick to select just the blue areas. You see those black lines that are inside are going to be filled by the black area at the back, and the hatching lines are going to be formed by the pen tool. The rosary beads that you can see I'm ignoring, I'm going to form those using circles and just copy the circle right the way around the object to cut down on time. The text is just going to be formed using text layers. I've also ignored the pen drive in the lower corner of the drawing. Later on I'm going to form that pen drive using the same techniques I've used here. So I'm outlining it in red, and that's going to give the inside lines their colour. And I'm outlining the white areas only, and then I'm going to fill in the detail using the pen tool. Here I've just made one ellipse, and I'm copying it right the way around. And I'm going to fill those with white. I've made it yellow for now so that I can use the select menu to select just the yellow shapes in the drawing. Now I'm going to get the pen tool, and on a new layer I'm going to start laying in my hatch lines just using the pen tool and a green color once again so that I can select just those elements using that color profile. If you look in the strokes panel at the bottom is a profile option. By changing that profile from uniform to one of the other width profiles, I can taper my lines according to that width profile from the start and the beginning of the path. I've just changed the look of the rosary beads and moved it up a layer so that I can see how it sits over top of the rest of the drawing. Just filling in the detail areas, not worrying too much about accuracy. Vector drawing is always going to have that digital appearance. We're just using techniques to try and minimize that digital look and give it a more analog appearance. That's why I've outlined the interior shapes and the outside shape as separate areas so that I can mimic the line weight variations that drawing it by hand has given the drawing. If I just stroke the outside of the hand, then it's going to be a very similar width right the way around the object, and that's going to look extremely digital. I want to maintain the feel of the original pen drawing. It helps to make your original drawing as accurate to what you want it to look like as possible, and it makes the vectoring process a lot easier when you reduce the amount of guesswork that you have to do to recreate the lines. Laying in these hatch lines is one of the more time-consuming aspects of the drawing. Every time I've made my short line, I need to deselect so that I can begin the new line. The simplest way I've found to do that is to, before you switch to the pen tool using P on the keyboard, is to first select the direct select tool, the white arrow tool. Then when you press Command or Control while using the pen tool, the previously selected selection tool will pop up, and that will be the white arrow tool. And then I just click randomly outside of the document, outside of the current element that I'm manipulating. I also make sure that I'm separating my elements into different layers so that I don't have as much objects to contend with and I can still see the locked layers. I've also left the areas that are going to be switched from strokes to fills as strokes for now so that I can see the drawing underneath. I have a blueprint in my mind of how the image is going to come together, and then I'm following that plan and adjusting as I go. Every time you do an illustration, your methods are going to adapt and change depending on the best way to complete each element. So yeah, this is by far the longest part of the drawing. But it's not particularly hard, it's just a matter of putting some good music on and then just forcing yourself to sit there and do it. So we're approaching the final leg of the hatching. After that, we're going to start fixing the text, getting that right, and also using the strokes panel, applying the width profile. As you can see, all of the lines have a organic appearance. Now I'm making how the rosary beads attach to the pen drive, and I've used a typeface called American Typewriter to create the text as it has that tattoo-like appearance. I've used small caps to make the beginning letter of each word larger than the others. Instead of warping them into the shape, I've just rotated each character so that it maintained its original appearance. Now I come in and fix up any details that I've gotten wrong. I've got to fix up the fingernails. And now I'm using the shape builder tool to make the rosary beads sit underneath other objects. The shape builder tool can be reached by pressing Shift and M on the keyboard and highlighting the objects that you want to manipulate. Pressing the Alt button while on the shape builder tool will allow you to delete other aspects of it, and holding Shift will allow you to add items together using the shape builder tool. And now that we've converted it to black and white, you can see that using those techniques has given us quite a natural look to the illustration, and it will also print really nicely and really sharply, whether you're screen printing that or using a digital printer. And in the next lesson we'll go through colouring that and how we can use analog methods to give us a basis to work from. And I'll see you back for that lesson. Thank you.